the Fantasy Podcast. News, reviews, and interviews from the world of myth and legend. With your host, Oliver McNeil.
Episode 3 of the Fantasy Podcast. Hello, I'm your host, Oliver McNeil, and I'm going to be introducing you to the world of LARP, live action role-playing. Now, it's something that's been around for nearly 40 years, maybe even longer than that, and essentially it's reenactment theatre or storytelling. It can be battle-based, it can be more story-led. There's things called freeform, where everyone has a character and they work within the system, or it can be more linear, where they go from point to point to point within a set storyline. I've personally been doing it for about 30 years and have played all different types, from horror to sci-fi to mostly fantasy, high-level fantasy, which is very fantastical, magical, or very low level, which is just barely out of their medieval world. Now, I've sent a preview screening of a fantastic film all about LARP. It's called Treasure Trapped, and it's produced by a production company up in Manchester called Cosmic Joke, and they've had an incredible amount of views with their LARP videos over the last few years. They sent 3 intrepid reporters around the world of LARPing, some in the UK and some in Europe. Now, you probably will recognise a lot of the sort of styles of the live action roleplay that they covered from the very beginnings, going all the way into extreme. I've been role-playing for over nearly 30 years, and some of the role-playing they showed in Europe is something I'm not familiar with, which was extraordinary, amazingly eye-opening. Now, I must say, I wasn't quite sure what to expect when I saw that it was going to be a LARPing documentary, and the tone of the start, as probably as you expect, it's making not fun of it, but sort of bemused bewilderment. But that drops away very rapidly, and it actually becomes an extremely intriguing documentary film about society and about how LARPing can improve yourself, and how gamification of things is a very interesting way of development through education and all kinds of things. For instance, they showed a LARPing club that took over a whole battleship to do a Battlestar Galactica LARP with over 400 players, and another LARPing group that did a 36-hour continual time-in, all playing members from an advertising agency, and the school that uses LARP as part of its educational program. I would heartily recommend this film. If you are a society or group who do live role-playing or are interested in gaming of any sort, you can request a screening. Now, to request a screening of this film, you just have to go to their website, which is www.cosmicjoke.co.uk/treasure-trapped. Or go and find them on Twitter, because you can also do it on there, and their Twitter handle is @treasuretrapped. Like I said, go see this film. Find some way of seeing it, because even if you've role played for years and you think you know it all, there's so much to be learned from this film. I certainly take my hat off to them. So this weekend, the Sunday, I went up to a club in Canterbury, in Kent, called Skullduggery, and a very kind lady called Sarah Campbell, the co-organiser, showed me around and introduced me to some of the players of the system, and we talked a little bit about what live role-playing was, the kind of people that played it, how you go about it, and, well, you'll find out.
Here, those you have blessed with your might, that they may best serve you here in these lands. With the tools you've given us in heart, body, and mind, let us follow in your path. For it is by serving those who need service that we earn these blessings that you have bestowed. We are blessed! In Elm's name! We are blessed! In Elm's name! We are blessed!
So, where are we at the moment?
At the moment we're up on the other side of the site. There's a village area that we often use to roleplay larger scenes in, that was built by the site that we use.
And we've had, how many buildings we've got here? About 8 or 9 buildings, and they're quite substantial. I suppose they represent sort of homes. So they all, what other things they use for?
Anything that you can think that you could roleplay them into, I suppose.
And when were these built?
Dwellings. These are more recent, last year or so. There used to be some different style hut structures here before, but they were fairly old and falling down and patched, so they were taken down and the new ones put up.
Fantastic. In the background you can hear some players well in character here. We're not going to approach them. I don't want to take them out of character. But we've got some quite impressive costumes here. A lot of the players make their own nowadays, don't they? But,
yeah.
In the last 40 years of LARPing, there's some fantastic suppliers. Do you have anyone on your team who makes equipment?
Some of the players make costume. Sarah Newbold, Orchestral Newbold, she is the singing seamstress, is the name she trades under. She makes costume, and Charlie also puts costume together for people as well. Jason Boyle, he's Dad's Armoury, and he does leather work and leather goods, so there are people in the player base that
Great
the players
name,
go to yeah, people go to for leather work or sewing and things like that.
And how many players have you had this weekend?
Had about 80 players this weekend, so we've got about 100 people on site in total, which is fairly average. We've had games where we've had 100 or so players on site. When we've run larger games, we've had some games that are a bit smaller, so this is a bit average.
Do you have a separate monstering team?
We have separate crew that come up and crew for us all weekend, and we have a team of refs and plot staff that run the plot side of the game for us. We also rely a bit on the player base to volunteer for the larger scraps, and we tend to do half of the player base volunteer to monster one half, and then they swap over so that each gets a turn to play their character in a battle and also fight a monster in a battle as well.
Fantastic. And you were saying that it's part freeform and part linear adventures that you do. Can you just quickly explain the difference between those two?
Generally, if we're running a more freeform encounter, then the players will be in a central area and the things would happen around that central area, and other crew or monster characters would come and interact with them there. Whereas in a more linear style adventure, they tend to have a path to progress down. They might meet obstacles on their way or have characters from the crew or monster teams to interact with on their way round as well. And part of that depends on the site. So being February at the moment, it's very, very muddy underfoot. So we tend to run the linear style encounters through the less muddy areas, and then try and keep the free form in the woods as opposed to in the clearings that can sometimes be a bit muddy underfoot.
Yeah, so they're not looking too muddy though. I think they've done quite well.
Not here. This area is actually doing quite well at the moment.
Yeah, and the players look fairly clean. They obviously haven't been falling over too much. So.
Well, not quite so much this morning yet. Some of them were looking a bit more muddy last night.
There's no in-character laundrette.
Not here, no.
And how do you represent the monsters here? Do you have a whole kit of masks and...
We have various bits and pieces. We have sets of tabards if we want group style. We have some individual pieces if we want someone to stand out. We have 2 new Golem style rock monster suits.
Oh, they sound cool.
This event that we've just had made, they fit sort of an average sized male, somewhere around 6 foot.
Wow.
So
who made those?
One of our players, Mark Lucy, made those.
Fantastic.
From over the winter.
And is he a professional prop maker, or is it just something he's...
Not as far as I'm aware. I wasn't aware that he made that style of suit until our plot ref, our member of plot staff team, he got in touch with me over the winter and said, I'd like 2 of these rock golem suits. I know a guy that makes them. Are you happy to expense it?
Wow.
Yep.
And how long have you been doing this, Sarah?
I've been involved in the system for about 9 years. I've been helping to run the games for about 6, I think. I think we took it over.
Yes. And what draws you
6
to
years ago.
live roleplay?
It's just partly the roleplay itself, but also for us, it's also about the social side of things as well. We're known to be a very sort of friendly, welcoming to everyone system. We're family friendly, it's not just adults, so there are some games that you can't play if you're under a certain age. We've had some very young players up to the very old.
Yeah, you are one of the only clubs I know of that are quite inclusive. You, as long as the children have the parents with them, the children are allowed to play.
Yeah, anyone can come and play. Under 14, they need to be accompanied by an adult 21 or over, and anyone under 18 obviously needs consent to play. But other than that, people are welcome to come and join in and have fun.
And do you think it actually helps people sort of socially, develop themselves from young? I've known a lot of players who might have been a little bit rambunctious in their youth, who've really sort of responded well to live role play. Just the fact that they're not on their own and they are watchful eyes, and you can learn various things just by role playing it out, or by being a little braver, or being more respectful, or learning certain morals.
Some people that find social situations more difficult often find role play a bit easier because they can slip into a character and interact with new people where they probably wouldn't necessarily get to interact with that many different people outside of role play. It's just a chance to do something different where no one minds what your background is, where you've come from, who you are, because you're not that person at that point in time. You're an elf from Darkwood, or...
That's it. And do you run a 24-hour time in here, or do you have breaks?
We have breaks here. We don't run a 24-hour time in, partly because we find it easier to not run a 24-hour time in, but also because we want to be very all-encompassing. I haven't got a watch.
Oh.
I haven't got a watch.
I do. It's just gone past 5 past 11.
Just gone 11. Just gone past 11.
All right. Fantastic. So have you got any other structures in the woodland here?
We've got a castle type structure that we sometimes use as a larger area, but other than that we tend to put structures up where we want them. So we've made walls out of hessian and run those round areas if we want to enclose them. We've got some fiberglass sort of small man height stones that we use as a ritual type circle area.
Fantastic.
We tend to put bits and pieces up as and when we need them, move them around to where we want them.
So if I'm listening to this and I've never live role played before, what do I do? How do I go about sort of booking an adventure and coming along? And is it okay if I'm on my own? Do I need a group of friends? Or
you can come on your own. You can come with friends. We've had whole groups of friends turn up that have never been before, but equally we had someone turn up this event who knew no one, had never been, rocked up. Like, I'm new, I want to play a Fae type character. Where do I start? We just find you someone else who has been coming a little while that can show you the ropes, that plays a similar type of character, and then you get to know people. as you play. So you don't need to know anyone before you come. A lot of the information's on the website, which is www.skullduggerylarp.co.uk, and from there there's also a link to a forum where you can chat and interact with players in between games, find out information, and also a lot of the event dates and details and all the booking details are up in the forum system as well.
And do you have a Twitter account yet?
Not yet, but it's something that we're working on. There's an unofficial Facebook group that's run by some of the players, which we try to keep an eye on, but we can't always guarantee the information on there is going to be accurate. But we are looking to set up an official Facebook page and Twitter account at some point in the possibly near future as a different way of spreading information about the games and when they're on and stuff.
Yeah, well, it's a fantastic system. Everyone looks like they're having an incredibly fun time. Not quite sure what's going on at the moment. What's the plot this weekend that you can reveal to us?
Well, recently the players entered a whole new world. Their old world got destroyed and they made a choice of which of 3 worlds they wanted to go to, and they chose to go to a brand new world. And this is the first time in this brand new world they've entered a largish city style area. So they've had that kind of thing to deal with and new people in the city that they've not encountered before.
Are we standing in the city now?
This isn't the city at the moment. The city's further down where the large marquee structures and the bell tents are up, where the players have created their own in-character atmosphere with their own areas for the Mages Guild and the armourers and the healers. Have all got their own spaces. The elves have a tent of their own to go and role-play inside, all decorated to give the atmosphere that they want for their group. At the moment we're up in the village area that they're using for other in-character encounters and some of the battles, because as we were saying earlier, the ground underfoot's a bit more stable up here than in some of the other areas due to the rainfall that we've had over the last few days.
Wow, that's fantastic. And is it expensive? How much would it be for a weekend?
To pay on the gate on a Friday to stay all weekend for an adult would be $55, but there are pre-booking discounts if you book early online. So if you book 4 or more weeks before a game, then there is a reduced rate. And if you book at the beginning of the year for the whole year, then there are season tickets that bring the cost down to about £33 a weekend.
That's fantastic value. What can you do for £33 the weekend? Nothing. And you bring your own food, or do you have on-site catering as well?
We actually run 2 different style systems. So the system we're running at the moment is an older system we've been running for a long time. We have caterers at this system who come, and you can pay £25 to the caterers and they will feed you 3 meals and pudding at dinner and hot drinks all weekend for your £25, which is amazing value, and the food they serve is amazing. I couldn't do better myself and run the game at the same time. The other system that we run, people tend to cater themselves on fire pits and charcoal and with old style cooking pots and utensils and things.
Can you tell me about the other system?
The other system's known as Wildfire. That's much more role-play based, it's less combat heavy. Runs along a different set of rules, but again all of the information about the rules and some of those differences are up on the forums if you were interested to go and have a look. Tends to be a smaller player base, so it's much more intimate role play, and the players lead the role play a bit more for themselves in that system. They're different, and different people prefer different styles of role play, so it allows us to accommodate the people that want more of the role play, less of the combat, and then the system we're running at the moment accommodates those people who want more of the combat style role play as well.
Now, if I am starting, and I've never done it before, how easy is it to pick up the rules?
Quite easy. Most of the calls that are made are fairly self-explanatory, so if someone points at you and shouts mute, then you stop talking for a bit, and if you're not sure, you just go along with what you think might be right and then just check with someone later, what was I supposed to do there?
So you have a ref
there
as
are
well?
Refs around, so in every combat encounter there are always refs around. We always point out at the very beginning of a game during a briefing session for the players the things to do, the things not to do, check all that the weapons that they're using are safe, and pointing out to them who their refs are going to be over the course of this game so that they can recognise the people to go to if they've got a problem.
Wow, fantastic.
The hut is always staffed and manned with a qualified first aider, and we've also got a qualified first aider out in the player base as well, so if there are ever any non-character related issues, then we can try and help you deal with those as well.
That's fantastic. Is it okay to have a little look at the city?
That we put up, that big one.
Wow.
The players brought and put up.
So we're standing in the city, which is an array of, lots of sort of bell tents, but it looks fantastic. It's very muddy. You hear some squelching underfoot. But the kind of props and furniture they've got are the same kind of things you'd see at a living history event, albeit a little bit muddier today. Okay, and so you're telling me that you've minted some coins as well to go with the system.
Yeah, we had some coin presses made with a company, and every time we want coins, they press us out a coin, about 1,000 at a time. We've got 3 different levels. We've got copper, silver and gold as they're commonly known. They have their own in-character names as well. So the copper are known as Oris, the silver are known as Helda, and the gold are known as Scorbs. But people most commonly just refer to them as the copper, the silver and the gold.
And you and your fiance, you run this as a kind of a non-profit making business, really. As it doesn't really, everything goes back into props and.
Yeah, so the money that we get from it, that the players pay to be here, the majority of it actually goes to pay for the site and the overheads that come with it. But any money that we do get over and above that, we put back into buying in the golem suits, buying in the coins. Buying in the marquee type structures and the props and the monster costumes to go with it.
It is a labour of love, live roleplay I've found through the years. But there's a lot of people who've started doing it who go on to run their own businesses, either prop making or event management. And you also work with youth as well, don't you?
I am a teacher of chemistry, mostly GCSE and A-level.
Oh, fantastic.
Monday to Friday, and then this is what I do at weekends.
And your other?
He works for an IT company developing web software for car companies.
Yeah, fantastic. Should we go and find some players to talk to?
One of my best friends used to LARP, and I was interested in tabletop roleplay. And then after that, he said, "Why don't you come to LARP?" And then I found out, because it's kind of like acting.
Yes.
And because I really liked acting as well, like it's perfect kind of thing. So that's how I got.
Is that you're nodding as well?
It's a very similar story for me. My best friend was doing it, and well, I kind of came because my mum wanted me to socialise and to build my confidence, and I like acting, so she thought.
Do you think it has built the confidence?
Yeah,
definitely.
I didn't used to talk a lot at all. Now, I don't know most of the people here, but I'm happy to talk to them.
Yes.
So
Do you find it easier in character or out of character to talk to a new person?
it's easier in character because it's not being yourself.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry like if you're going to embarrass yourself, because if you do anything wrong, you'll be like, "I was just my character."
I think it helps a lot with confidence because like out of character, I'm quite like an introvert. I don't really go out a lot. And then my character that I just played, Nessa, she's like an angry Scotswoman with a really bad accent. And like it's good because even if you're acting silly, everyone else is acting silly as well.
And you can get a lot out of your system, can't you?
Yeah.
I found, you can't go around shouting, well, not normally.
Yeah.
But it's nice to sort of yell out something and it releases that tension of the weekend.
There was a really lovely man who used to say, take a part of your personality and amplify it 10 times, and then you get a good character.
Hello. Player? Are you a player?
I'm playing, yes.
Fantastic. Can I have a quick 2 minutes
sure.
just to interview? This is for the Fantasy Podcast.
Okay.
And can you just tell me who you are today?
Dead right now. I've just had my head cut off.
I'm so sorry to hear that, but it's a beautiful costume that you've got. It is amazing, actually. We've got a wolf mask. It is a wolf, is it?
Yeah. It's,
This is Wake. Liability.
Dead.
Oh, good.
So the mask is foam with then fake fur stuck on the top of it, shaped.
Yes.
Then leather armour, a raggy, so like a robes strung together out of ragged cloth, and then various bits of charity shop fur coat and pelt strung
it looks
together.
amazing, and this breastplate here, it's a leather kind of. It's definitely fancy with sort of goat hide on it.
Yeah, I've never been quite sure what that hide is, but
it doesn't smell too bad. You're okay, especially on the weekend. So what are you going to do now? You're dead.
Well, so yeah, I've just been executed for murdering people in the dark. But what happens if you try to raise some kind of demonic cult? And I will now be going off to join the monster crew and fight there.
Are you quite upset that your character's died?
Oh no, it's high time the character died. I've been doing it for 3 or 4 years now, so it's time to do something a bit different.
Wow. What do you want to play next?
I need to think. This character is a bit notorious in the system, so I need to think a long way from this character to put a bit of water under the bridge, as it were. So I'm probably going to be a Fey ritualist or a Fey wizard. So I think instead of a big burly beastkin that goes around stabbing everything, to a more talky, interactive character.
Fantastic. Is that just because you want to chill out yourself?
Well, yeah. I like doing a range of things. After a while, whatever you do gets boring.
Yeah.
So variety is always good. New challenges, new skill sets, using different parts of the system, interacting with things. This character is basically an idiot, and so it makes it very hard for when there's complex plot going on or trying to work out puzzles and things. There's only a limit to how much I could do with this character without being something that the character isn't. So playing a different type of character and new challenges, really.
Hi guys, you're just putting stuff away at the end of a hard weekend.
Yeah.
So how long have you been role-playing for? Live role-playing?
15 years for me.
And role-playing? Just ask the question.
And role-playing, live role-play 15 years, and then role-play itself probably another 5 on top of that.
Well, and what brought you to it?
So for me it was my ex-girlfriend. Me it was friends at college. So
What was the first system you played?
this was Skullduggery was the first live role-play. And my first roleplay system was the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay.
Fantastic. It was a good system, wasn't it?
It was awesome.
Yeah. I was telling Ian last week about that. I said it was one of my favourites.
Yeah.
And it's just the... it's very live roleplay, actually, wasn't it? You think about it's very realistic.
Yes, indeed.
And what about yourself? You play still, or you mostly crewing?
In terms of live roleplay, we play Empire. So.
Oh wow, okay. Can you tell me a bit more about Empire?
It's a massive system, or a large system.
1,200 or something more than that.
So it's not the biggest in the country, but it's a large one.
Wow. Where's that based?
It was just above Milton Keynes, now it's gone. The new site is just south of Birmingham. We're all part of the same group. Like a big chunk of the players from here put a group together and went. And that was quite good. So we've been there since the beginning of Empire. So.
And that's fantasy based.
That's a medieval rather than a.
Well, there's 7 factions.
Oh yeah.
And each has their own thing. The group we're part of is more Templar sort of.
Okay. Because if people listening who aren't quite sure what we mean by sort of low fantasy, high fantasy. So low fantasy is when there's very little magic, isn't it? And it's more. It may be more
close to life.
Yeah.
What has happened in time, and high fantasy. The probably the most mainstream high fantasy that most people will know these days is things like Lord of the Rings and Hobbit.
Yes, I suppose Game of Thrones might be low fantasy.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That will connect with a lot of people.
Yes, well indeed.
That's our new abbreviation.
Yeah.
Hurrah! And do you make your own props and costumes, or do you leave that to other people?
It's bits and pieces really. So if it's something simple and I've got the time, I'll do it. But otherwise, there's a lot of people in the player base that do that kind of thing. So we got 2 stone golem suits for this event.
I saw them, amazing.
Yeah, that's one of the players who just did it because that's the kind of thing he likes to do.
Yeah.
So it's quite handy in that respect.
We tend to do the set pieces, so building the big props and gateways and things like that.
And the boring things like putting tents up, taking tents down.
I don't know why, but you seem to be maybe. Do you do the pyrotechnics by any chance?
No.
You don't have pyrotechnics here?
We have smoke grenades
that's
and a smoke machine. That's as far as we go, really. Just partly because of insurance.
Absolutely, got to keep it safe.
And also the limitations of this site. Well.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thank you very much, guys.
That's right,
carry on.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Right.
So what's going on?
The players at the moment are trying to hold off the ritual circle. They're trying to empower it. Because they've been to 2 other locations over previous events where they've messed up.
So this is part of a big story arc,
yes,
is it?
Yes, the whole thing's always one big long story. they are travelling. They're going to be travelling through the mists, and when people go into the mists, they go through some strange deformitives. What we've got over the other side are what we call mistwalkers, and they're the nasty things in the mist.
So you've got real mist here as well.
Yeah,
Plenty
real
of
mist, yeah, that's it.
smoke grenades going off.
Yeah.
Very dramatic speeches going on as well.
Our summer events look amazing because obviously it's drier ground and we throw a bit more smoke out there.
Yeah.
And we go for some big special effects. You missed the golems. They're incredible.
I saw them not even on and they look amazing.
Yeah, yeah, they were brilliant. I was in one virtually all day yesterday. Yeah, we were beating the hell out of each other. It was fantastic.
Wow.
So easy to move in as well.
Oh, that's fantastic.
They're incredible.
Yeah, look brilliant.
Okay, I'm just going to give a little bit of a running commentary on what's happening. The party of about 50 people have backed into the village, and approaching them is the Mist Warriors. And it looks like they're on full-on retreat now. Bravely retreating.
So, have you been LARPing for long?
About 5 years now.
Fantastic. You all play elves?
Yeah, well, this is my first character.
Oh, really? Wow.
So, yeah.
So you're quite worried if it died?
A little bit, but when it dies in the right way, I'll be more than happy.
Okay.
You've got to die epic.
Absolutely.
Or
Yeah.
not at all.
Yeah, definitely. So every battle you go into is epic, just in case.
Just in case. Got to make it.
Did you make your own costume?
I did, yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's good fun.
Thank you.
It's alright. Have a nice day.
And let your voice resonate in all of us, that your word may be spread to all who will listen. And let us always act in righteousness, that those who stand against your divine plan will be crushed by the combined spirit of your children. In blood I have served, in death I will be judged. In serving others, I serve my Lord. In serving my Lord, I earn salvation.
Hello, I'm here with the man you would have heard a few seconds ago doing an incredible off-the-cuff speech. I don't know, was it? Have you done that before?
That's sort of... I've done it before, but never quite to in front of that many people to that extent, sort of thing. And it was fairly off the cuff. It always is with LARP because it's all.
It's brilliant though. And what's your character?
My character is named Sir Isaac Neville. He is the leader of an order of knights, which is now dwindling, especially after that battle. He's got a sort of reluctant leader trope going on. Because when he started, he was just the bastard son of the guy who led it before, whose name's Sir Alistair. But he died, and through a long course of serving the king of our nation, I was legitimised by the king and given a knighthood, and then rose up to take up leading the order. But the character is young and inexperienced and is struggling.
And how long have you been playing this character?
I've been playing this character about 2 years now.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're in full army. Well, pretty much. You got.
Yeah. It's not the most armour that I wear sometimes. Yeah, I've got a suit of chainmail that I can put on as well. But I felt that I'd want a bit more manoeuvrability today.
Yes. And you've been LARPing long?
I've been LARPing for about 7 years.
Wow. Okay. And you've got an amazing tent here as well. Is this? Do you do reenactment, or is this just?
Some of the LARPers here do reenactment, but this I don't think this is a reenactment grade sort of tent. But a lot of LARP. There's a lot of crossover, but I personally have never reenacted now.
No. It seems to me that you really like the immersive element.
I do, yeah.
And the storytelling.
Well, that's very much what I'm here for. Yeah.
Yeah.
Play
Some people
the character.
like the battles, but I could tell.
I love that as well. It's all a lot of fun, and the battles can add to the story. Like today I lost my remaining mother figure, who only hours before I was crying on her shoulder because my brother had died earlier today, been murdered by another one that we thought was something of an ally, and then we had a bit of a inquisition, found him and executed him. and then but still it doesn't bring him back.
No, that's quite sort of if you're an actor.
Yeah.
Just watching EastEnders Live, you got to go through all these different gamuts of emotions and remember all the rules and all of the characters around you and interact with those and stay true to yourself.
Yeah. Sometimes it gets easier than you'd think when you've been doing it a while. You tend to just sort of, I don't know if everyone does, but like I can sometimes sort of just get into the headspace. There's so much emotional content going on around, like my childhood friend getting murdered. That just really, if you can really get yourself to believe that, then the emotion just comes. Like I was bawling like a child, but I'm quite known for that actually. I will cry at the drop of a hat.
Do you think that's quite healthy, like coming out of role playing? I
think it is, yeah. Actually, I am utterly emotionally spent right now, and yeah, I think it is rather cool to be able to explore those sorts of emotions in a virtual environment, essentially.
Yeah. Helps you deal with it in a real environment.
To an extent, maybe it could.
Yeah, I think.
I don't know.
Personally speaking, it has. I role played for 30 years.
Wow.
And when I had experiences out in the field, and then you have it in real life, it does. You can take a step back and go, all right, I know how to deal with the situation. When you see an accident, your immediate response is not, it's right, okay, right, let's sort this out.
Do the job, yeah.
Exactly, which is what you do in role play.
Yeah.
You learn it. Thank you very much. Thank you. And
you're very welcome.
And what do you do in normal life?
I am a part-time barista and becoming a plumbing apprentice.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, my name's Nicholas Pasica.
I'm Danny.
And I'm Dan.
Dan, and are you some of the youngest players here today?
Yeah. Middle, I'd say. You're young.
Yeah,
how old are you?
Yeah, I'm 13.
13 and
19.
19. Fantastic. Oh, and have you been doing it long?
Yeah, I've been doing it pretty much all my life.
Really?
Yeah.
And is it one of your dads here?
No, he's not here today, but my mum's here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you love it?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I've been doing it since I was 12.
Yeah.
My brother got into it and then introduced me to it, and I was like, I want to carry on doing this.
It is fantastic. What do you like most about it?
Just being someone else in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, just, playing an alternate world, not having to worry about real life for a weekend and just getting away from it and mucking about.
And do you have a lot of friends who do it as well, or sort of at your age?
Well,
some.
I have my friend from school who I brought along, and he comes here, so...
Yeah. Cool. And what about you?
None of my friends at school really do it.
Do they know about it?
Yeah, they know about it, and they just think I'm a bit weird, but...
Yeah, well they need to do it, don't they?
Yeah,
That's the hard thing to explain what live role play actually is until you come along and have a whole weekend of immersive role play.
Yeah.
It's getting in contact with all those emotions and all those experiences which you couldn't normally do in a safe environment outside. And then it helps you deal with it later on. I think that's what I do. But do you make your own costumes and you're into that side as well?
Yeah, this costume is this is just a coat that was like a proper long fur coat that we found in my auntie's closet, and then we just cut it, and then I used the bottom bits to make the legs.
Excellent.
And then just got a LARP shirt and put over the top.
Yeah.
Because my character's fancy, obviously.
I did something very similar for my first costume. Oh, right, you.
Yeah, most of this is actually some of my dad's armour and stuff, but my dad's a leather worker, so he makes a lot of the armour. So,
brilliant. So the entire household is just full of LARPing stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
How cool is that? That's cool. And is this something you can see yourself carrying on doing?
Definitely, yeah.
Would you like to run your own clubs?
Perhaps in the distant future, maybe.
Yeah. I don't think I'd be able to do the plot line, but I might be able to run the monster crews and help out and be crew and stuff like that.
Yeah. Everyone seems to do everything here. They do play, crew.
Oh, it just makes it more fair. Like, if you're playing a weekend, then you're kind of not giving back. Unless it's a big system like Empire, you can't really, you don't have the facilities to be able to just have all that crew there.
Yeah.
That's not paying for anything, or making them pay, in which case you won't get them. So, there's a bit of give and take.
And it's a cheap weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's seeing all your mates and a bit of fun. I mean, the amount of laughter that's going on in those battles is great to hear. Well, might be slightly out of character, but
but
you'll enjoy it.
it's still fun. It's all fun and laugh. And at the end of the day, what we're doing is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So you can't really take it too seriously at times.
No, that's it.
There has been really serious moments, and I'm sitting there trying not to laugh just because it's just a bit too ridiculous. I get completely immersed in my character. I'm playing
It's the same for actors, exactly.
Yeah.
So if you're on stage, you're just playing it. Like you think of all Patrick Stewart on the Starship Enterprise saying these stupid lines of David Tennant or all these Doctor Who characters, but you just have to do it, and then after you just go, that's good fun. Good escapism. Have you done any sort of sci-fi LARPing?
I've done one before, but I'm not really, because they use Nerf guns, and I'm not really into using Nerf guns a lot. I find it difficult to use. So in that system, I played a healer and a sneaky kind of character, so I didn't really have to use a gun. I had one, which I barely used, but most of the time I was just healing people and stabbing people in the back, which is kind of what this character is, but just a bit more upfront about it.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Well, you seem like a nice guy normally. So. Thank you, guys. Take care. Hello, I'm with, what's your name?
Andy Vinicum.
Andy, hi Andy. I had to say, don't say this in a rude way, but you're one of the older players here.
Yeah.
How long have you been LARPing for?
35 years.
Wow. And
on
how
and
did
off.
you start?
Picking it up from the tabletops, so from Dungeons and Dragons, sitting around at school and deciding to go out and do it for real, making our own armour, making our own weapons.
Which was your first club?
Oh, that was one of the first ones was Dark Star down in Portsmouth.
Okay.
I went to a little one up in Nottingham, and I can't remember the name of them, but there's not many around.
Yeah, from 35 years ago, there weren't that many, were there? Yeah. It's I think the Treasure Trap, Labyrinth.
Treasure Trap, that was it.
Was that
Treasure
the
Trap,
very first one?
Yeah.
Good God, okay. Can you remember anything about it?
I can't, to be honest. It was that long ago. I know it was fun, but we were just a bunch of guys running around in the local woods, doing our own monster and doing our own lineage and stuff like that. It's today's effects and dedication, if you like.
It has
to
changed.
the art.
The things that I've noticed since I started is the amount. There's a lot more ladies that do it now. There's a bigger age group. The costumes are so much better.
Absolutely, yeah.
And everyone's really friendly. Well, certainly this club, everyone was very friendly. There doesn't seem any sort of egos. I'm sure there are.
Oh, there are definitely egos everywhere. Definitely egos everywhere.
But they seem to be kept in check just by the good nature of other players.
By the other players,
yeah.
I mean, we've got some egos, and we keep them in check by just taking a mickey out of them all the time.
Yeah.
Continuously.
Exactly.
And the ego goes away. But yeah, no, we've been playing as a group for years. And some of us, or some of them, have run their own systems.
Do you run your own as well?
I don't know. Okay. No. I haven't got the time or the imagination, if you like, to run a system.
And what do you get out of it? What's drawn you to it?
Stress relief.
Really?
Yeah, seriously stress relief. You run around in the woods for the weekend, beat the hell out of people with a big rubber sword, and then go home and don't take it out on the wife.
Yeah.
Or you've lost the stress from the work, which is really good.
Yeah.
It's really good. I mean, I took a sabbatical for a while because I've got some issues. And my good lady wife pushed me back into it. She said, "You love doing it, why don't you do it anymore? Go and do it." No, all right.
Fantastic.
So it's a family affair. I can't corrupt my children.
They don't want to do it.
They don't want to do it. No, it's not cool enough for them yet.
Yeah.
But we have got other people's children that we're corrupting.
Yeah,
which
I
sounds
was
bad.
just interviewing an 11-year-old who's doing it. He loves it. It might be 13. Beg your pardon, I edit that. 13-year-old, and he loves it. I think his dad introduced him to it. And
well, when mine was small, they loved it, running around in the woods, just as a family, with all the big swords that I've got at home. But as they've grown up, their street cred and their coolness has taken over. And
but I bet they play role-playing games online.
They do, but they wouldn't let their mates know.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, they still want to do it.
Yeah, they still want to do it. But they'll get there eventually.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir.
Take care. Bye. Bye. Thanks.
Bye, mate. Cheers.
Written this plot then this weekend.
Yes. I can't take full credit because I delegate heavily. I don't think that one person alone can really give a solid game. You have to have a group of people you trust, a group of people you like, a group of people you like to work with, who will help you out, who will pick up the slack when you are flagging, when you have to go and do something else. I've only got one pair of pads, I've only got one pair of feet, I've only got one pair of lips. I can't be everywhere at once.
Where you got
I need
how many players you got this weekend?
80.
80 players over 3 days.
Yes.
So how many adventures are going? You have linear adventures as well as the overall.
Yeah, we have an overarching plot that runs from Friday night to Saturday morning. Afterwards, we split into a 50-50 format. So we split the player bases into two, and one half will play their characters, while the other half will play a monster crew, we call them, which are the enemies for the players to fight for the day, and then they'll switch over. We found it's really the only system that works to get two really solid, good battles, and splitting it like that means that we have a battle day where everybody can go and get their blood up and, you know, enjoy themselves and go and hit things, and we have a day where people can sit, they can discuss, they can get the things done they need to get done.
When you're writing it, do the monster crew have a script, or do they have like an encounter brief, or do you just brief them verbally beforehand? Or?
The 50-50 split is normally a verbal brief on the day, because until that day we really don't know what's going to be going on. The player actions from the rest of the event will culminate in the two scenarios that we are running the next day. So until Saturday night, we don't quite know what's going to happen. We have an idea, we have some thoughts of which way they can go on certain things, but we don't really know. However, for the rest of the event, you need a, not a script, but definitely a set of bullet points of things that must go off, must happen, what order they must go in. There isn't ever a script that you must learn, but there are pertinent points that you must get out as you go, and you talk to the players. And that it's not a stage; it's live action, you know. So it's not scripted, but there are things that are happening that must be imparted to the players.
And do you have an idea where you'd like to go within this year? Or do you again just work from each event to event?
I know that other people have a set plan of we are going here, we are going here, we are going here. I try to avoid that because I'm a firm believer in player choice. I believe that the actions that the players do at an event should directly influence the game that they play next. Case in point is this one, actually. I was certain they would be going to the woods in the north because we have elves here. They came from a world where the woods in the north was their homeland, and we gave that as a choice for them to go to. But they didn't. They said, actually, this city of scholars that you've given us as another choice sounds really fun. So we would really like to go there instead. So my ideas for the woods to the north got put on the back burner, and instead I wrote an event for the city of scholars. I'm both blessed and cursed because I have about 3 months between each event. So I have enough time to sit back for a week, think about what's happened over the event, think about what I'd like to happen at the next event, and then start writing. And it's a process that takes about a month.
And do you look at the players who might have made an impact in one event and think, actually, as long as they're coming to the next event, I'll write something for them to take it further and sort of introduce them into the whole story?
Yes, actually, it's already happened. There are people who have had actions and influence in the game that have directly led to choices being made available to them, choices being taken away from them, and plots specifically written for that group of people or that person coming into game. We have somebody who has brought a group together called New World Traders, and his angle is he'd like to be a trading caravan kind of thing, but he'd also like to be a bit sly about it, a bit untoward as it was, and be a thief as well as a trader. And he's done the legwork in game to actually get his group some of its own personal plot, and is actually working towards that angle now.
That's pretty exciting. And I just saw someone dressed as a cat and someone with there's some interesting characters. Can you play pretty much anything within the system? Is it flexible?
Yes. There is a racial table that we have, which will give the name of the race, the prosthetics that we would expect to see, like a minimum costume requirement, and then a little paragraph about what the race is about, what god they worship, and that kind of thing. There's scope within those races as well. There are several kinds of elves that are around. They're all elves. They all worship the same god, but they have very different personality traits and types and very different kit requirements that have been created by the players again. Most of the playable races in the system at the moment have really been rooted by a group of players who have gone, we want to come along and we want to play this. You said about the person who's walking around as a cat and one who's walking around as a rat. They're known as the Beastkin, and they were a direct result of a group of players coming along and saying, we've got this great idea, we'd like to play this kind of half beast, half man race called the Beastkin, this is our backstory, and then being told, that's a brilliant idea, come and play that at our system. So it's just whatever they want to do, this is their game.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you very much. What was your name?
I'm Harry.
So if you're interested in LARPing or want to get involved with Skullduggery, you always have Google to search by. Now there are thousands of different types of clubs all through the world. There's everything that you can, every type of genre you can imagine, different types of players and different types of storylines, different levels of immersion, different levels of combat. Not all games have combat, so go out, have a go, have fun.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe. We want to hear from you. Find and follow us on Twitter at the Fantasy Pod.
Don't forget you can listen to our other episodes by following us on iTunes. We have on there Tom Baker on episode 1, Doctor Who Tom Baker, who is talking to us all about his fantasy films, including some remarkable auditions. Episode 2, we have the amazing Ian Livingstone, who created Games Workshop, the Fighting Fantasy books, and brought Dungeons and Dragons to Europe. Now we have some exciting episodes coming up. I don't want to announce them too much at the moment, but we have some very top level actors, and we have some amazing people who are in the industry of fantasy. So that's going to be exciting. So don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode.